Hey guys, Mike with Long Range with the Lilies. Here with a little bit different video this week. Keely and I, are all about sharing our journey with you guys in this sport. We keep saying that. It's kind of one of our taglines or buzzwords. What does that mean? Well, it means sharing our growth as we strive to get to the top because we're not there yet. And that means sharing both the good and the bad. I think, if you were to watch a lot of other social media out there, everybody is always putting the best version of themselves out there, hitting every target that they break triggers on or showing all the wonderful vacations that they take and all the happiness and everything. That's kind of not our style. We like to be a little more real, a little more honest, and that means sharing the bad as well as the good. And this is definitely a video about the bad. So this year, I made the commitment to shoot the AG Cup. I was really on the fence about shooting the AG Cup. I have a really hectic work schedule. I'm typically gone about half the year every year with work. So finding time to fit another series into the other series that I've committed to always was a difficult decision. I didn't come to it lightly, after talking to Keely, and who was not 100% on board with it, and talking to a bunch of other shooters in the community. I finally sat down with Keely and said, I feel like this is the best way to see where I stack up against the best shooters in the nation. Did I sign up for the AG Cup thinking I'm going to win some huge check at the end of the year? I'm going to win the AG Cup? No, not necessarily. I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm never going to know what it takes to get there if I don't compete against those guys. And I really do feel like the AG Cup is where the top talent in the nation shoots all in one match. Yeah, you'll get onesies or twosies at every other match, but whenever you shoot an AG Cup match, it is a quote-unquote stacked field. I know everybody loves to talk about, they shot against a stacked field. The AG Cup is legitimately that. Multiple national match winners, multiple time national match winners in every match. If you place well at an AG Cup match, you are a damn good shooter and you've earned it. So I made the decision to shoot the AG Cup despite my hectic schedule. It was a huge financial commitment. It's $1,000 right off the top just to even register. That's not counting any match fees or any AG Cup fees for the particular matches. So the first match of the year was, for me, that I was able to go to was the Clays Cartridge Classic down in Oklahoma. It was a match put on by Tate Streeter and Clay Blackadder. Unfortunately, it was sandwiched between two pretty crazy work events for me. A lot of you don't know what I do for a living, and that's fine. I think the best analogy I have for that week, somebody described it as if you were to wake up and take the SATs every day, all day, while walking a tightrope, juggling some balls, and every time you missed an answer, somebody got to punch you in the face, that would equate to my week. I felt like that was a really great analogy, and so I'm sharing it with you guys. And I'm not saying that to set the stage for excuses, to make any excuses for my performance down there, because I don't make any excuses. I did what I did. So pretty exhausted. Thursday night, I'm supposed to fly out Friday morning. Thursday night, I'm sitting down with Keely, and to complicate matters, I don't have a rifle ammo combo that's ready to go. And Keely was kind of being the voice of reason to me at dinner. Hey, are you sure you want to do this? I don't think you should go. You're exhausted. Your gear's not squared away. I don't know what you're expecting to achieve down there. I explained to her about the financial commitment. I don't have an opportunity to make up these matches, so if I didn't go shoot this match, I was basically conceding that I wasn't going to shoot the AG Cup for the remainder of the year. So she still advised against it, and I thank her for her honest, candid advice. I started making some phone calls, trying to square away some stuff, and I even talked to Clay via text. I was like, "Hey, man, I don't think I'm going to make it." And he responded with, "Hey, we were looking forward to seeing you. We think it'd be a good opportunity for you to come down. We hope you can get it squared away. I talked to, a bunch of my friends down there in the Midwest, and Ryan Hundle, especially at Redbeard Gunworks, is like, dude, you can go, I'll get you a rifle, I'll get you ammo, like, we'll just square you away. And I started getting phone calls from everybody about, how they were willing to help or how we can make it happen. And I'm greatly appreciative for that. It really shows, the side of the community that I love the most is that everybody is willing to help you out. So I had a conversation with Keelie, and she's like, I don't think you should go, but I support you, whatever you decide. And that wasn't a test. I know that a lot of guys would say like that was a test and you failed, but it wasn't. I think that Keelie describes me as we were at dinner one time, and she describes me to a friend of hers as like a working dog, like a Belgian Malinois. Whose drive is just so high that once I decided I want something, like it's like soul focused, and that has good and bad aspects. It's enabled me to be successful in a lot of the things that I've done in my life. It's enabled me to be successful in my career, but at the same time, there's some negative to that too, is that I lack the ability to let things go sometimes, or to just maybe make a cost-benefit analysis decision on whether it was worth it or not. So, with the dog description, Keelie's like, I support you, whatever you decide. Whether she said that, truthfully, or whether she said that so I didn't stay home all weekend and be destructive and like chew up the furniture and pee in the corner like a pissed off Malinois would do. That's up for debate, but she ended up supporting me. I ended up, cobbling together a rifle and grabbing some ammo that I had never shot before. And then, at 1 a.m, I finished all that up, finished packing, and then Keelie, even after saying she didn't think I should go, was good enough to get up at 3 a.m. and drive me to the airport so I could go. So thank you. I know I don't say thank you enough, but thank you. Get to the airport, and then the kind of what I call the trip of many woes started. I had some issues at the airport, got to Oklahoma. I had some issues with the rental car. I did end up getting to Leedy till like 3:30, 4 o'clock, I want to say, and the range was going to close down at 5 on zero sign-in day. So in a very short time to zero rifle, tune the load, and get ballistic data. Huge thank you to Chris Way and Corey Vogues for trying to help me out. I know that they put aside some of their training in order to help me, and I'm really appreciative, guys. Got out there, got some shooting in, did the best I could, and then 5 o'clock rolled around. Clay's like, hey, we're shutting it down. And I was like, dude, I need like just 10 more minutes. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And I respect that as a match director. I get it. Everybody needs or wants something. Sometimes you just have to be firm and lay the limit there. And it's not like I give him a hard time or anything. It was just, it is what it is. So I went out to dinner with some friends that I hadn't seen before, a long time. And had a great time at dinner. It was good to catch up with everybody. Had a great meal. And then Saturday morning rolled around and we started the match. So Clay gave the match brief, and that's pretty much the last time anything went right for me for a little while. So about the match. First of all, let me say that Clay and Tate did a fantastic job down there. The course of fire was super challenging, but at the same time it was fair. And what does that mean? Well, you hear a lot of complaints at matches with like gimmicks. There were none of those. Or, so-and-so got to shoot the long range stage first, when the morning, when it was calm, and that really was the difference. I don't feel like this course of fire was set up that way. There were no gimmicks. It was straightforward. The stages were arranged in a way to where it really didn't matter what squad you were in or where you started. It was going to be challenging for everybody. And I think in a match of this magnitude at the AG Cup level, that's all you can ask for is a fair match that's challenging for everybody. I really feel like it was set up to where the best shooter won. Congratulations, by the way, to Dave Preston. He went down there and put on a clinic. That guy was just killing it on day one, and he continued it on day two. Day one was like 10 miles an hour wind up to about 18, and then day two was brutal. It started out in the morning kind of relatively calm, and then right at 9 o'clock as we started shooting, the wind kicked up, and it was anywhere from 12 to like 38 miles an hour is what I saw. Some other guys were saying it went above 40 a couple times. Just hugely challenging, and it started whipping up that red Oklahoma dust that got into everything. Those of you that saw my some pictures of my rifle understand what I'm talking about. I feel like I'm going to be finding red dust and dirt probably in November when I clean out my whatever. So that stuff is going to be here forever. So super challenging, but like I said, super fair. All the props were very stable. The targets were challenging, but they were, you know, that way for everybody. So great job to both Tate and Clay. The food was fantastic. The match was well run. There's some issues that came up. I was impressed with the way they handled them. I really can't speak enough for how well they did down there. So if you get a chance to go to one of those matches down in Oklahoma, I promise it's going to make you a better shooter, and you're going to have a good time, and you're going to eat well. Clay, you were right. That's the best prime rib I've ever had. It's probably the best, you know, $1,000 prime rib I've ever had, because it's easily what I spent to get down there. So anyway, back to the match. Started day one, and it was a bunch of tiny little poppers on elevated T-posts. If you guys have shot down in Oklahoma, you know those guys love those elevated targets on T-post. And when there's flat terrain behind it, when you miss off the side, where your round impacts can appear high or low, so it's super hard to see where you were missing. I'm watching every shot. I didn't miss any splash. You know, I'm even seeing trace, and I'm still having a hard time figuring out where I'm missing. If your dope is good and you're working in 2 dimensions, left or right, you know you're missing left or you're missing right, it becomes easier to diagnose your misses. But when you also don't know your vertical component, which I didn't, it becomes exceedingly challenging, especially when you're shooting at such small targets on elevated T-post. If there's a berm behind it, you can usually see the splash and figure it out a little quicker. I did not figure it out. It took me about 3 stages to figure out that I needed to take off about 2/10 off all my dope, and I gave up a huge amount of points. And against this field, there's just no making up that many points. So knowing that fact is where things started to go wrong, and where I want to get to kind of the heart of the message about this match and the lessons learned. Was my rifle shooting great? No. Did that result in my placement? Also no. I let the fact that I blew those first 3 stages creep into my mental space, and I started thinking about there was no way I was going to place well, and then it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mentally kind of stopped focusing. I was frustrated, and you know, it started to show up. About that time, I started engaging the wrong target, shooting targets out of order, messing up the stage brief, not listening to it properly, and those all resulted in poor scores. I mean, I had some good stages too, but when you're mentally checked out, you're not going to perform well, guys. Like, I equate the AG Cup or any national match really to like the PGA Tour. Everybody on the PGA Tour has a good golf swing. What separates the winners from everybody else is their mental performance under pressure. And in this case, guys, I failed. I blew it. I didn't keep my mental focus, and that resulted in my placement. I am happy that I was able to separate shooting from not shooting, meaning that yes, I was frustrated, but I still had a good attitude down there. I still had a great time. You know, as soon as I stepped off the firing line, it wasn't like in a bad mood or taking it out on ROs or other competitors or anything like that. I'm just not that guy. And if you ever see me being that guy, please call me out on it, because I never want to be that guy, but we're all human. So I met a lot of super great people down there. A lot of people came up to me that I had never met before, that follow us through social media or the YouTube channel, and had a lot of really great conversations and got to meet a lot of really great people. I really enjoyed my time down there. I just didn't necessarily enjoy the active shooting, which is kind of one of the main reasons to go. So, with that mental performance, unpacking all that, kind of like taking an honest self-assessment of where I'm at as a shooter. So if I was to make an honest self-assessment of where I'm at as a shooter, I think I would describe myself as having a high ceiling, but I also have kind of a lower floor right now. Well, what does that mean? High ceiling, I can compete with the best guys in the world. When my stuff's ready, when my load's dialed in, when I'm shooting well, when I'm practicing, when I'm in a good mental headspace, I can compete with the best guys in the world. And I proved that last year with, 4 or 5 top 10 national match finishes in a row against quote unquote stacked fields. I know everybody loves to talk about stacked fields, but I was competing with those very best guys in the world, tied for fourth at a big NRL match where everybody was at, and I can compete with those guys. But I also have a low floor, and what does that mean? Well, when I don't have my stuff together, when my mental game isn't on cue, when my rifle isn't shooting the way I want it to shoot, I fall a lot further down the standings. I think when you look at those top guys in the world, those top guys in the nation, when they're on their A game, they win. When they're on their B game, they're in the top 5. When they're on their C or D game, the worst they finish is like top 10. I'm not there yet, so I have a much broader gap in my placement, and it's kind of these big ups and big downs right now. I think it's just part of the process. As I grow, I am not a natural shooter. I'm not that guy that just, is going to rocket to the top. If I get to the top, it's going to be through hard work and dedication. I just don't have that natural, I just pick up a rifle and the bullet goes where I need it to go thing. And I think that there's a lot of me out there. I think there's a lot of guys out there, or girls, sorry, that, we're good shooters, and we know we're good shooters, and we feel like we're doing everything right, and we're just not getting the results that we want. And I think that that's normal, and I think that that's okay, and I think that we can all, feel better knowing that we're not alone in this. And, those guys at the top, they're there for a reason. Like, they're so damn good because they've put in the time, they've put in the work, they've put in, all this stuff that it takes to compete at that level. And, I'm trying to get there, and I do believe that one day I will, but I have to put in the work, and I just haven't been able to do that yet for a variety of reasons. And it's something I need to work on. And a big one, again, the big takeaway from this match is the mental game. Like, if I had showed up down there and kept my stuff together and overcome all that stuff to still have a respectable placement, that would have been a huge win for me. But I let that go immediately. I did not follow through on that possibility. And then, I was so worried about not going to this match because I didn't feel like I was going to have an opportunity to make it up, and I didn't want to throw that away. And then my poor mental attitude kind of made that happen anyway. Do I regret going? No, I don't regret going for all the reasons I said earlier about, the people, the community, everything else, and the learning that occurred. But that's a hard lesson, guys. Hard financially. It's not easy running to a match, when your spouse isn't 100% on board with it. It's a tough lesson that came at a pretty high cost, both emotionally, physically, and, financially. But, it is a lesson learned. I have a good friend who says that the best lessons in life are either painful or inexpensive. And this one was both, like on a magnitude of just massive. So hopefully the lesson sticks, and, I can take that moving forward. So, that takes me to what are the lessons learned and where do I go from here? Lessons learned. Don't go to a national match without being set up for it. Let me back that up a little bit. Set yourself up for success going to a national match. I'm not going to tell you not to go. Set yourself up for success. Ensure that you're doing the things that you need to do to be set up for success. Have your load dialed in. I know Regina loves to wait till the last second to load her ammo, and fresh ammo is the best ammo, and that may work for her because Regina's won national matches. I don't recommend it, especially if you don't know the data. So set yourself up for success. Be prepared. Stack the odds in your favor. That way, you're better. Your percentages for being successful are better. The next lesson learned is don't quit. I have a huge thing against quitting. I hate quitters. It's a huge thing for me and my soul about never giving up and never quitting. And, I didn't quit, meaning like I walked away and just stopped shooting, but I gave up on myself mentally, which is just as bad. And that is a hard, painful thing for me to admit to. It's it's not who I am as a person, and I hate that I did it. And it's probably going to eat at me for a while, but you know, that's what it is. And you know, that's going to be that fuel that drives me forward. And I'm going to have to like unpack that and deal with that later. So the next thing I want to say is, and this is not really a lesson learned, I'm happy it went this way, is I was able to separate that shooting and my experience. I still had a great experience despite shooting poorly. I still had a fantastic time with some really great people. And I love the people that I meet down there. It was super great to see all the Midwest guys and girls. Super great to see John Kyle and to meet his family. Just, again, great people. And then, you know, where do I go from here? Well, I'm going to pick myself up, dust myself off, like literally, because there's red dust everywhere in all my stuff. I had to completely disassemble my rifle, and there's red dust everywhere. I think it's like I'm going to be finding that stuff next year when I show up down in Oklahoma. There'll still be dust from last year. And then I'm going to go back to basics, all the way back down to dry firing and the fundamental act of, you know, pressing a trigger. And from there, I'll start going back to building positions and shooting. I've got some load development to do to set myself up for my next match, which is another AG Cup match, War Rifles out in Pennsylvania. I'm really looking forward to getting out there and seeing some friends and seeing some people that I haven't seen in a long time. And again, challenging myself and, you know, also looking for some redemption. So that's what's next. If you're with me this far in the video, one, thank you. And I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate the success and the growth we've had. You know, it seems like not that long ago we were talking about passing 1,000, and here we are knocking on the door of 4,000 just a couple weeks later. Like, the growth has been amazing. The feedback has been amazing. Everybody that's come up to me in a match and said thank you, or talked about how they enjoy the channel, I really appreciate all of that. We are all about sharing our journey, and that includes sharing the times we stumble and fall on that journey. But it's about picking yourself back up. It's about continuing to grow and about moving forward. If we were to just show the highlight reels of our lives, you would probably be wondering why you don't see a lot more pictures of me hoisting like national match trophies. In fact, here's my national match trophy wall, as you can see behind me. There's a reason I don't have those yet, guys. There's growth that needs to happen. There's improvement that needs to happen. And there's a lot of hard work that needs to happen. And I look forward to doing it. And hopefully one day we can do a video where I can say about all the things that it took me to get there. But I'm not there yet, guys. But I will one day, because I do believe that if you put in the work, good things happen. So thanks for watching, guys. I know this is kind of a not the happiest or most entertaining video, but I think there's a lot of us out there that can relate to this struggle and this journey and that feeling of leaving a match knowing in deep in your soul that you should have done better. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. If this helped you, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit us in the comments with questions. I don't have any ego about this stuff, obviously, or I wouldn't be putting it out there. By the way, I did finish in like 74th, 77th, somewhere in that range. Pretty terrible. Definitely the worst national match finish I've had in multiple years. You know, love to talk about it with you guys. Let us know how we can help you guys grow or any questions that you have. Thanks for watching, guys.